infinite ammo.
Alright, greetings, victims of Camp Crystal Lake. I am your unfortunate host here, Immortal Brandel. And I'm joined here by these unfortunate folks as well, because Jason be stalking us because we're reviewing or ranking our favorite Friday the 13th movies, from best to worst. And my panel here today is let's start with AKAustin. Introduce yourself.
Hi, it's me, AKAustin. I'm back. Y'all miss me.
Yeah, not really. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's I grew up with Friday the 13th, so this is gonna be really fun for me. But I'll let you guys go on.
Yeah, all right. Renegade operative. Time out.
All right, I am here. I said I was enjoying some giant milky breasts in the woods with Jason, and let's get into this podcast.
All right, Vela, introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, my name is Joe or Vela, and I think this is my first time on the IAS podcast with you guys, so thank you very much for having me.
No lie, this whole entire time, without even bother asking or looking at your profile, I thought you were a chick this whole time.
Me too.
Me too.
You want to know what? It's not the first time I've gotten that. It's okay.
Anyways, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, fresh meat. Desmond, introduce yourself.
Oh my god, that threw me all the way off. I'm so sorry. My name is Des. I definitely spent the last couple of days watching a good chunk of the Friday the 13th movies for the first time, and it was pretty fun, so happy to talk about it.
Yeah, all right. And start things off with number one. What are your personal rankings? Oh shit, Cryo. Hey, I forgot about you.
Completely forgot about him.
Yeah, Cryo.
Damn. Ren, I got replaced. Oh, you got replaced this time.
Yeah, there you go. Musical chairs, huh?
Hey guys. Exactly. Hey, I'm just happy to be here, finally ranking the Friday the 13th films.
Yeah. All right. Who want to start off with their personal rankings? Because remember, this is going to be uninterrupted. So, you want to go first? The floor is yours. Ren.
Oh, put me on the spot. All right. I'll try to make this fast then, because I did write down my list. I'm gonna try to go uninterrupted for like 10 minutes. So, my best to worst list of the Friday movies. I gotta start with Jason Lives. That's part 6. I really enjoyed this one. It felt like the definitive Jason experience. I like that Tommy Jarvis is a badass, and of course, this movie is like well shot. The cinematography is so awesome and great. I like that scene of Jason just standing on the RV with the fire. Oh man, that's so fantastic. I love it. And the zombie Jason thing added to the lore. Him being unstoppable, that made like total sense, and I just enjoyed the hell out of this movie. Next up is part 4, and that is the final chapter. It was the beginning of the Tommy Jarvis story, and most importantly, it developed the characters really well. It made those characters charismatic, it made them interesting, it made the dialogue like really good. And I also like the subverted expectations where dude gets killed in the shower, gets his head crushed. That was great. Tom Savini, awesome. You know the deal. When he decides to work on kills, they look very gory and fantastic, and this is no exception. I just think that one of the things people might hate is how fast the movie goes, but personally I loved it. Next up is the remake. The remake is brutal. It is relentless. It is unforgiving, and that is the great thing about Jason formula. The thing that this movie added, though, is Jason is now a hunter. He puts down traps. He decides to set people up, string them up in the most gruesome ways, and this really added a lot to the character. It made him more menacing. Next up is part 3. This movie in particular is very formulaic compared to like some of the other entries, and they slap together like some 3D aspect to it, which, you know, it could work for better or less for me. I felt like this movie really embraces identity though at this point. This is when the kills started getting good. This is when Jason was masked. It really is like a good movie. Just the only thing I didn't like is the final girl is like kind of underdeveloped in a way. Next up is Jason X. A lot of people hate this movie. I don't. I thought it was good. It was well paced. The only problem in this movie is it's kind of super stupid in the way they do things, and the nanomachine paste or whatever that brings back Uber Jason. It's like, it's a stretch of the imagination, but overall I enjoyed it too. Next up is Freddy versus Jason. You know, two titans, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger. They're fighting, and this is the core of the movie. Although while this movie is decent, I don't like the characters at all. I really hate them. They're kind of unlikable, and they really did not add anything great to what you wanted to see, which is Jason and Freddy fighting. Next up is part 7. Part 7 is where they tried to do things differently. There's crazy shit going on, like Jason getting headbutted by someone who has telekinesis, and that was really fucking funny. It's a good film, although I feel like the problem with this movie is they censored it. Because they censored it, a lot of the kills for part 7 is just not good. So that's why it's like really low on the list. It's like great to watch, but man, go watch the workshops, please. Like I said, enjoyable time, not the lowest on the list. Whatever you prefer, that's your preference. But we really got robbed on that gore. Fuck the motion picture asshole association, for real, dude. Next up is part 2. My notes here are pretty short. It's an energetic film. It has a lot of jump scares. Jason is the killer. It's just a retread of the first one. That's a big problem for me. Next up is Jason Takes Manhattan. I have a personal bias for this movie. I actually enjoy it. Just the kills, everything's cool. Jason, you know, being on a boat. They should just rename the movie Jason Takes a Boat, because that's exactly what happens. Like, it's a giant misnomer of him going to Manhattan, and that might be seen as an issue for this movie. That's why I can't really put it higher, but I did enjoy it. And then we go to the bottom of my list. The first one. It's fine for what it is. The problem is it's slow as fuck. And that's because they're trying to build up the story and the lore. I get that. It's just not a rewatchable film. The Pamela Voorhees twist is old once you finally know everything, and that's why I said you can't just rewatch it, because it gets boring that way. And then we get to the bottom 2, which is part 5, A New Beginning. I don't like the twist of this movie. I thought that some of the kills were lame, zoom in shots. I thought that the twist was also super dumb because they decided to make it super obvious with the nurse guy or whatever is like overreacting to the guy on the ground. And I'm like, oh, that's gonna come into the plot later. They're not even hiding it. And then you find out that copycat killer had his son killed, and then he goes on a killing spree and becomes Jason 2. It's really fucking stupid. I know some people like this movie. They like things about it. I think it's bottom 2. And the final one is Jason Goes to Hell. I don't know what to say. I think they have cool stuff in it. Necronomicon, we see that. We see Freddy Krueger stuff with the claw and the setup of that. We don't get that till later with Freddy versus Jason. it's just a mess because they fuck with the lore so much. Jason can now be killed with a ceremonial dagger that was in his bloodline, and he's related to someone called the Kimballs. And I thought that was really weird. And Jason's not even really in this movie. He gets blown up, and you see other people eating his heart and becoming him. And that's just so fucking confusing to me when they do stuff like that. So I don't know. It's weird. They have some good things. It's just bottom for me. And that's my list. All right, so I'm done.
All right, that's good. Vala, you can go ahead and give your rankings.
Okay, I'm gonna do the opposite of what Ren did. I'm gonna start with least favorite and go to favorite. I'm gonna keep a close eye on the clock here. I don't want to potentially cut into anyone else's time, but I agree with Ren on a lot of points, especially with my least favorite, number 12 of 12, which is Jason Goes to Hell. It, to me, is where the series kind of jumped the shark, so to speak. It isn't even necessarily because, it doesn't really center around Jason as a character. That's perfectly fine if you want to try to do something more original or more creative and do something different, kind of like how Halloween 3 has nothing to do with Michael Myers, and it's a good movie. So, like Ren was saying, everything with the dagger and everything with like Creighton Duke and like the lineage, it's just all so ridiculous to me. And just one that I personally can't really get into. I think the only real positive to it is just, some pretty good gore and practical effects, and that's really about it. So number 11 is Jason Takes Manhattan. Again, Ren broke down a lot of the reasons why I don't like this movie particularly. It's, just so low budget that it's just spent on, a cruise ship pretty much the entire time. Really poor characters for the most part. I liked Julius, and I really liked his scene on the rooftop. The boxing sequence of Kane Hodder just actually eating all those punches is friggin' awesome. And it's definitely the high point of the movie. But everything else is bad. Kid Jason is ridiculous. The makeup they had for Jason is also ridiculous, and it's so laughable. Especially when you compare it to the makeup in the final chapter and the New Blood, where it just looks fantastic. So, moving on to number 10, 10th movie in the franchise, Jason X. I think this one is maybe the most divisive, just depending on like your personal taste. A lot of people really like the kind of campy B-movie edge to it. For me, it just doesn't really work. I know I've used the word ridiculous a lot, but this is definitely the most ridiculous one. And then like the variation of the sleeping bag kill from a New Blood that they kind of integrate into this. It's so dumb to me and over the top and forced. None of the humor really works for me. None of like you could say maybe like intentionally bad or campy acting works for me. Just nothing about the tone works for me. Number 9 is Part 5, A New Beginning. The only thing I really like about this one is, like the kind of like badass sort of MMA Tommy Jarvis is pretty interesting. And then you have, and I forgot her name, but just like the very vulgar, foul-mouthed woman who is absolutely hilarious. She's great. A lot of entertainment value from there, but like Ren said, the kills are terrible. I think this was the one that had the kill where like a girl's like pinned against the wall and like gets stabbed in the gut, and then like when they zoom in on it's like a pillow or something. It's so bad. It's just horrible effects for it. Feels very, very sleazy, even compared to the rest of the movies in the franchise, which I also don't really care for. So yeah, just all very weak. And then that's not even touching on like the plot with Roy Burns and that twist. And to me, it doesn't make any sense why, like, when you watch that movie and it's Roy Burns, like when it's somebody pretending to be Jason, it doesn't to me make a lot of sense in practicality why somebody would still be kind of meandering slowly, kind of like Jason, and not really like acting like a person. But I guess maybe that's just me. Number 8 is the 2009 remake. It, I think, is fine. I don't think it's an awful remake or anything. I think it's just very dull. I think it's very unimaginative. I think it's very uncreative, with the exception of Survivalist Jason, played by Derek Mears, who is fantastic. Definitely the best thing about it is that sort of reimagining of Jason as like a more aggressive and brutal, violent killer that like will actually just sprint at you and run you down is really scary to think about. So that's to me the best part about it. The very, again, even compared to the rest of the movies, like immature characters and humor, to me again, it just really takes me out of it. Number 7 was Freddy versus Jason. I think, believe it or not, this is the most dated. Even though, of course, the original came out in 1980, I think Freddy versus Jason is the most dated Friday film, just because like it's so early 2000s. 2003, I think. There's just so much ridiculous stuff with like the kind of heavy like nu metal music every time Jason and Freddy are fighting. The horrible CGI. A lot of stuff with characters, like flying every time they get hit. I guess maybe that was like Ronnie Yu's decision, being like kind of from Hong Kong cinema, sort of. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, it doesn't really work for me. There's some good aspects. I mean, we do get a lot of brutality with Freddy and Jason fighting. That's what you show up to see, and you do get a lot of it. So it definitely lives up to it. I kind of do like the plot of, once the movie kind of gets going, it turns into Freddy versus Jason, and the kids, instead of being the focus like they were in the beginning, kind of turn into just like being caught in the crossfire between these two horror icons, which I actually enjoyed quite a bit. But kind of at the halfway point, my number 6, a lot of people will think this is pretty low, but Friday the 13th Part 3, I know it's the one where, Jason really starts to take form as we know him, with like kind of the sort of jumpsuit look and the hockey mask. But I don't think a lot of the kills are great. The acting, I mean, all these movies have very poor acting, but this one especially. It had the least memorable, at least for me, final girl. We'll kind of touch on that a little later. But yeah, to me, it's just a very okay movie. There's some decent kills. There's some decent entertainment value, but I just think it's very middle of the road. I don't really hate it. I don't love it. It's just whatever. Going into the top 5 now, my number 5 is the original from 1980. Of course, before Friday really became into what it is now and what we remember it being, where it was kind of just like this murder mystery, whodunit plot that really isn't well done if you think about it. Since, of course, the killer is Pamela Voorhees, and she just kind of like shows up going into the third act, which kind of defeats the entire purpose of a whodunit, since, of course, it should be like a character that is well established and known within the plot to keep you guessing, and then she just kind of pops in out of nowhere. So it's not even very well done. It's definitely a movie that is better for its legacy and what it invented and what it sparked, as opposed to like the technical aspects of the movie itself. And that's kind of why I have it where it is. Some of the kills are great. You have Tom Savini's makeup with this, as well as Part 4, and that's definitely a strong point. Betsy Palmer really carries the movie to me whenever she comes in. That's definitely where the movie really takes off and is at its high point. Number 4 is Friday Part 2. Ginny Field, to me, best final girl. Just very likable character. Love the way she, kind of tries to manipulate and sort of toy with Jason a little bit in order for survival. Other kind of endearing characters that are entertaining. Really memorable kills, like Mark just getting chopped in the face in the wheelchair and going down like a million steps. It has like a bit of that comical edge, but it's just like it just catches you off guard. And so we get Jason, in his first form before he's really, as we know him later in the series. But I think it's a pretty decent installment. Now getting into the top 3, my number 3 is Part 7, The New Blood, as it's been called, even here in our chat. Carrie versus Jason, and Tina. It took me a bit to remember her name. Definitely feels like a very off-brand or great value Carrie White, but it's entertaining as hell, like Rin said, and it's the first movie where you have Kane Hodder as Jason. Much better stunt work because you have somebody who's really experienced coming into the role. So you have like that wicked fire stunt when he's fighting Tina. That whole sequence is just so great. And even though the kills were cut down a lot by the MPAA, the kills to me are still really, really good, even though they're cut down. Going into number 2 is part 4, the final chapter. I think in terms of just a very, very straightforward Friday film, this is the best one. Before it became more comedic, more campy. The kills are fantastic. Again, Tom Savini's makeup in this. I think it's maybe my favorite plot and story when it comes to Tommy and Trish. You have that sibling relationship. They're a little more endearing, a little more fleshed out than a lot of the characters we typically get. In these, you actually kind of care about them. And to me, that just really carries the movie. You go into it and you're getting something just a little extra than just some good kills or nudity or, something along those lines. And then my number 1, unsurprisingly, I feel like a lot of ours are going to have the same number 1 and number 2, just depending on where you put it. But my number 1 is Jason Lives. I really love the tone. It's entertaining as hell. This is where the more comedic and campy aspects really work for me, especially like the Bond parody in the beginning. Some of the kills like Bert and like the other woman getting her face shoved into the side of the RV. It does a very good mix to me of horror and comedy, being able to sort of transfer back and forth very fluidly between the two. Again, you have good characters. Tommy Jarvis, Megan's a great final girl, or kind of accomplice to Tommy, however you want to put it. Sheriff Garris, he's awesome. Deputy Cologne is entertaining. And then I also like that you actually have kids at the camp, which just kind of makes it feel more genuine as a movie and adds more stakes to it. So Jason Lives my number 1. That's my full 1 through 12.
All right. That's actually a good list, though. And you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go next. Actually, I might as well get this off my chest. Yeah. Okay. So number 1, yes. Surprise, surprise, is Jason Lives. This movie is just fucking awesome. Like, I cannot express how good this movie is. It doesn't take itself too seriously. Cinematography is great. The weird action sequences from Jason, flipping the RV and of course the racing thing. This actual setting. You see actual kids and people not fucking 24/7 because that gets old a lot. And I think the kills are actually quite creative as well, all things considered. And of course, you got Zombie Jason. The first time you see him, and yeah, he's a force to be reckoned with. I love everything about this movie. Yeah. I just wish there was maybe actually they could have brought back some other characters from the previous movies though. But Tommy Jarvis, I'm fine with him just being him. He carried this movie, to be quite honest, right next to Jason himself. All right, number 2. This actually may surprise a lot of people, but remake for Friday the 13th. That was my second favorite, but mostly because of Jason himself. I like the change of a pace they did with Jason. It's kind of like how they did it with again with part 6, where they turned Jason to a zombie. But here, Jason's human again though, but they add a twist to it though. He's more of a survivalist. He is no stranger to running or using his environment to hunt down guys. Funny. On top of that, though, I don't like the characters as much though, but I don't mind the lead characters we do got. The 2 pair that we normally see before the main male character gets sister. I don't mind the mostly on screen characters, but the side characters I generally don't care for. But the biggest highlight is definitely the kills. I feel like this is probably the most brutal movie right next to Jason Goes to Hell. But all in all, yeah, it was a fun movie. Number 3, part 7. I appreciate them just doubling down on supernatural elements, because not only again it changes the formula up a little bit, but you actually have a match for Jason, not physically of course. So it's more like a unstoppable force versus a movable object. Yeah, I appreciate that dynamic for part 7. Like Vela said, the kills got neutered to death because of the ratings board at the time, but it was still fun movie to watch, censored and all. Yeah, no, I'm doing it on purpose. Don't worry. So the next one, I will say Freddy versus Jason. A common problem with this movie is the characters do suck, but for the title and its premise, It excels. Freddy and Jason fighting each other. I can't ask for nothing more. They actually nailed it, both in the dream world and the real world. My only gripe, really, though, is them technically nerfing Jason by giving him some type of fear. Which, if anyone who watched every single Friday movie know that's a bunch of bullshit because he's in the water a lot. So if you're gonna be afraid of water, even though he uses it to his advantage a lot of times, doesn't make any damn sense. But I can let that slide though. Overall, though, I did still enjoy the movie. Next is Jason X. I fully accepted the weird science fiction aspect of Jason X. But aside from that, though, I really love the kills, and I love how Jason fully adapted himself into a new environment. Because this man's in a spaceship, in space, obviously, right? But that didn't just stop him from killing these these future soldiers. So I can at least appreciate Jason X doing something different, though, even if it's just legit stupid by all means. Okay, so next movie, I will say Friday the 13th Part 2. Part 2 is I'll say more of a mixed movie for me. It's definitely feel like a better continuation or sequel as like for Friday 1 though, but I think it lacked a certain flair that its sequels did a better job in. And sequels as in like 6 and whatnot. But overall, though, I'll say like Part 2 definitely solid movie though. Not much to say on that one. Same thing for Part 3 though, but I would actually put that below Part 2, which is the order I'm going in. Next would be Part 4. Now, Part 4, I appreciate them bringing Tommy Jarvis, start of his trilogy. But the thing I don't like about the movie is the characters themselves. I generally I like the energetic side of the characters though, but I didn't necessarily care for them. I wish they focused more on Tommy and his family more so than those kids, because honestly they felt like they were just there. He's killing me. Yeah, it's fine. And next would be Jason Goes to Hell. Now, the reason why I like this movie is mostly the cinematography and the brutality of the movie. Like, if you watch the unrated version of the movie, it is brutal what Jason does, from slashing a woman in half with I think a signpost, to literally breaking a dude's arm off and have his bones exposed. Like, oh, that's nice. Now, as far as the continuity side of things, it does not make any sense whatsoever, though. But like ignoring that though on its own, like literally, if you just say someone else goes to hell, I think this movie is fine for the way it is. I have no problem with it aside from that. All right, and next on the list would be, I will say, the original movie, Part 1. As other people point out here, that the twist, once you know the twist though, the movie hits very differently. And this is one I don't necessarily enjoy going back to because it's really slow in my opinion. And again, once you know the twist that Pamela Voorhees though, it's like, okay, like I know what it is, I know what I'm seeing. So like, I feel like this movie could be easily skipped once you watch it the first time. Next would be Jason Takes Manhattan. Now, my biggest issue is the actual title, Takes Manhattan. Most of the movie is not even on Manhattan. It's literally on a cruise ship or wherever it is. If they didn't bother using Manhattan as a thing, this movie would actually be better off. Because the idea of Jason on a boat per se is not necessarily bad, because it was on near Crystal Lake. At least I think it was. But I feel like the premise was just wasted, like, because again, most of the movies is on this boat, and then you go to the city, which by the way, most of it is in Vancouver, and then you go to Manhattan. Movies, the pacing is uneven, and the locations just, yeah, they could have just done better. They could have cut out the cities and be fine with the boat part. And last but not least, actually, is Part 5. I honestly find this movie really boring. Some of the characters are cool, like of course Tommy himself. He's cool. The vulgar lady, the farm lady, who unfortunately gets a cleaver in the head. That's a sad death. And of course, Reggie, the reckless. He ran over the copy Jason. Like he deserved some brownie points for that. But I agree with everyone else here. The twist with Roy Burns just does not make sense nor add up. Like if they're gonna like literally start a new beginning though, why copy Jason? Like, it's fine to copy the brutality though, but he could have just been something else entirely. Like that would make the movie more fresh and unique versus just having a Jason with blue streaks on his mask. But overall though, I actually don't mind the kills in this though. Like some of the kills actually I would put in my favorites though. It's just unfortunately they're inside a bad movie, so. But that is my listing. So does anybody else want to go? Like Austin, Cryo? Where do you guys want to go?
I mean, I can go.
Yeah, go right
ahead. So I think I want to start from what Vela did. I'm gonna start from worst to best. For the bottom, I chose Jason Takes Manhattan. The movie had lots of potential, but the writing, unfortunately, was not really, really good. Unfortunately, it was one of those movies that had gone through tons of rewrites, reshoots, budget cuts, etc. And most of it was because of Paramount, which Paramount actually refused to give any more money for the budget for the movie for them to actually go to Manhattan, which is why in the end we only saw a little bit of Manhattan. The whole movie was supposed to take place in Manhattan. They just wrote in the boat or the ship for majority of the film, like pretty much almost last minute. The kills in it, I like some of the kills. I like the one the chick got her head smashed in with her electric guitar. That was pretty cool. The characters, honestly, the ones that got ganked at the end, I really did not feel anything for them. I did like the lead girl kind of, but I mean, she was a little bit weak, but I can't blame the actress. The actress actually liked her. The next one is Jason Goes to Hell. As much as I love the fact that it was actually brutal, it just did not feel so much like a Friday movie for me, more so of a, like, I don't know, like a ghost story more than anything. I mean, the fact that the whole Jason possession got started because of the doctor, who is played by Renegade here, when he ate the heart. That's how the whole thing got started. Then he ended up killing Kane Hodder, which was actually more hilarious. and yeah, it was some of the stuff in it I did like. Like I said, the kills were nice and brutal. That's how I envisioned Jason. And honestly, I didn't mind the way Jason looked in this movie, but he just looked fat. Like, I mean, I know that a lot of people also, going back to the heart, a lot of people question like what happened. And the thing is, it's because Jason was Kane is thick, but yes, Brandon, he is thick. Jason pretty much compelled the doctor to eat the heart. which I don't know why Jason doesn't even have that. He's literally just a walking, supernatural being. He's literally just a undead zombie. That's it. He doesn't have any abilities or powers like that other than, be able to take tons of gunshots and, blunt objects. But regardless though, okay, Ren. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I did like the little throw-ins from Evil Dead, the tease of Freddy versus Jason that we wouldn't get until years later. But I mean, other than that, though, I have to rate this one of the lowest of the Friday films. Next is Jason X. I'm not a fan of how they went with the cliche of, a iconic horror movie, an iconic horror movie character such as Jason just suddenly get throttled into, space, out of nowhere. And it just seems like to me they just wanted to cash in on the fact that everybody was doing it nowadays, so they wanted to go out on the hype SpaceX train. I'm saying Leprechaun. Don't remind me. But yeah, I mean the kills in it. Some of them I liked. Some of them were like really basic, but honestly, the guy getting chopped up into like bits and everything in the cockpit, holy shit, that was actually until actually that scene was the only really brutal scene in Jason X besides when the chick gets her head dunked in liquid nitrogen and her head gets smashed on the desk. And I don't know. I mean, I did like I forgot his name. It was the tough black guy. The big, yeah, Brodsky. Red. Yeah, that too. Yeah, when he was like, "Oh, it's gonna take more than that to bring this old dog down," and he just gets shanked again. He's like, "Yep, that'll do it." That scene kind of made me laugh, and I liked how he was pretty much like the Samuel L. Jackson character of the movie. So I'm glad they threw him in. But yeah, next would be for my ninth. It would be Freddy versus Jason. I like that they finally brought Freddy versus Freddy against Jason because they've been planning on doing this for so long. But it wasn't until Jason Takes Manhattan that they actually, New Line Cinema managed to actually, started working on the story, because they didn't start working on it until near, I think, Jason Goes to Hell came out. And even then, they were still doing like rewrites. They were going through different scripts that were already finished, etc. So that's why they added that little tease, that little cock tease at the end of Jason Goes to Hell. And because Paramount dropped the ball with Manhattan, Paramount decided to blame it on Friday the 13th and sold the rights over to New Line Cinema. I think it was like for a few millions of dollars. Yeah, after that, that's when New Line decided, hey, let's go ahead and make Freddy versus Jason now. I liked it. It was interesting, but I kind of wish it was a bit better in terms of like the writing. I didn't understand the fact that Jason had the fear of drowning. I mean, you could say that being in the dream world managed to get Freddy to, unlock that fear in Jason. But the thing is, though, that doesn't make any sense, because even Freddy had that confused look on his face, like, what the hell happened? And but yeah, other than that, the humans. I'm thinking about Godzilla versus King Kong. But yeah, I just the the main characters. It felt like they weren't really well written. They were focused way too much on Freddy versus Jason. Um, yes, yeah. His fear was uh fire, because that's why he looked kind of terrified but hid it at the end of the movie in the house or the cabin. I mean, uh, then the next one would be Friday the 13th remake reboot. I like the change that they had with Jason, made him more brutal. Definitely right up there with what Rob Zombie did with his version of Michael. I like the brutality of him, the relentlessness, the fact that he ran like in part 3. Um, you know. But uh the trash college kids, it's cliche. That's why it's really low. As much as people don't like this movie, next is A New Beginning. Uh, Honestly, I just thought of the twist kind of like what happened with Pamela after she lost, Jason. Just kind of like snapped, just went batshit crazy. Uh, I liked how they delved a little bit into the PTSD element of Tommy, the shit that he went through, the trauma, and yeah, it was interesting what they did with Tommy, especially. Uh, but other than that, uh, it was all right. It was all right. It's definitely not one of the worst films in the Friday series, but it's not one of the best. Uh, Next is the original Friday the 13th film. Um, I I didn't really mind the twist in this movie because it just reminded me of Halloween all over again. We knew at the beginning of the movie, it was the kid, and the kid grew up. He ends up escaping. We knew it was him all along. I think the issue with the movie was they didn't really try much to go with a plot twist like that. It just came off like that, which I think I understand why they did it. Because long story short, it was they wanted to do a copycat of Halloween, which came out 2 years prior. But regardless, though, uh, it's all right. It definitely fits in the horror genre of that era. The kills were creative for that time period. But looking back on it now, those kills, you've seen them once, you've seen them a dozen times. After that, the final chapter, because this is when things really start cranking up. Uh, Between the dynamic between Jason and Tommy, like I believe Ren brought up. Um, I definitely like that. It was the beginning of the end with Jason and Tommy. Uh, I like Trish. She had that kind of like hell no, back off away from my family, kind of like a female Vin Diesel. And I don't know, it's got a soft spot, especially because of the actor for or the stunt man for Jason. Amazing. I liked his work in the movie. He definitely put on a convincing Jason, and it was terrifying. Uh, After that, I would have to say Jason Lives. This is when supernatural elements started kicking up a notch, and uh, this is when it was starting to kick up a notch in terms of like supernatural Jason becoming more and more unstoppable. And also, before I get back to Jason Lives, I forgot between the original Friday the 13th and A New Beginning, I have the New Blood. I like the fact that they try to even the battlefield between Jason and the final girl. I thought that was pretty original for the series, and it was nice to see Jason actually, meeting his match. And the fact that the girl broke his mask and that got him pissed off, that made it even more great to watch. But some of the parts in it felt rushed. Like her backstory, it felt like not enough was explained with that. But going back to Jason Lives, again, I like the fact that now Tommy is like, you know what, fuck you, Jason. Fuck you, Jason. I'm better than you are. I'm gonna dig your grave up, and I'm gonna make sure that you're dead. And obviously, Jason was not happy about that, getting shanked in his own grave. So, yeah, the kills in it was phenomenal. A lot of like hilarious deaths, like the chick getting her face shoved into the mirror in the RV, the guy getting the Bowie knife into the skull or through the temple. Just a lot of stuff in it was just, it was really good. Now the next one is part 2. Part 2 was, as much as people like putting this like either in the middle or sometimes last, I put it in 2 because honestly, I liked how it introduced Jason, because technically they kind of actually did spoil the fact that it was Jason and it wasn't just somebody just being like a copycat. But I don't know. I like the flow of it, the kills in it, especially with the guy in the wheelchair. Jason has no discriminations. You're handicapped or you're not handicapped, he's still gonna gank you. But yeah, I just like the movie. A lot of people don't like the hillbilly get up with the potato sack over his head. Honestly, I thought, at least for that time period, it just seemed really, really like interesting. I liked it. I liked the design of it because all these years Jason has been living out in the woods. He's not gonna go up to a hardware store, grab some knife, couple of ropes, and a mask. Now for number 1 is part 3. I just like the fact that this is just the iconic moment where Jason finally gets his mask. That's pretty much the main reason why I put it up with number 1, is because he finally gets the mask. And also the man runs. The man literally just runs. So yeah, that's all I have. That's my rankings. I kind of wish Chris's backstory was better, but because that felt rushed. But other than that, that's my ranking.
All right. Des, I'm going to give your rankings.
All right, yeah. So I'm gonna go with most to least liked. I'm gonna start with New Blood. It just felt different, and I like, instead of just Jason going around killing campers, it felt different. And again, like everybody else was saying, like he met his match. There was even one scene where like she went to go fight back with him, and like you couldn't really see like it through his mask or whatever, but it looked like he was kind of just like, whoa, like what the fuck, like whoa, this is a challenge. So like it seemed like he kept going after her because he was like, well, I like this, you know. But I really did end up liking that one just because it was different and there was it just seemed like there was a little bit more to it. Next I went with Jason Lives. I think I'm gonna have to say that I liked Tommy, and I don't know if it's because he survived three Jason movies. So like I was really here for that. It was interesting as well because in that movie you did have children, so there were moments where it was just like, oh shit, like is Jason gonna go after the kids? Because like that would suck, you know. And then the whole movie you're feeling a little bit nervous because these cops aren't believing Tommy when he's like, yo, Jason's alive, people are gonna die, and they're just like, no, like you're crazy, get out of here. And it's just like, yo, all these people are gonna die, the kids are gonna die. But yeah, like I enjoyed that movie because of how it made me feel. And then I'm gonna have to go with the remake after that one. That was one of the movies that I saw when I was younger, and I absolutely loved it. But comparing it, because like I said, this is my first time seeing all of the older ones besides 10, because 10 was one that I saw when I was younger too. But this one was interesting because of the fact that, again, like everybody else said, he had other weapons that he could use and he was setting traps, and it wasn't just him like slashing people for the most part. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. After that, I'm gonna go Freddy versus Jason, which is like weird. I wasn't really sure where to put this, because I truthfully didn't. Initially, I thought that it was a cool concept to have Freddy be like, yeah, like I'm bringing Jason out, and Jason's gonna go like kill these people until I'm, you know, ready to jump back in, and then he gets like bamboozled, and it's like, oh shit, like Jason's actually taking my kills. This isn't okay. But like besides Freddy and Jason fighting, like the rest of the movie just seemed kind of there. Like it didn't feel like literally I just watched it today and I really feel like I just remember Freddy and Jason's fight. Like it didn't do much for me. After that I'm gonna go 10. Again, this is one of the ones that I saw when I was a kid, so I feel like I ranked it kind of, I guess, higher because like it's one of the ones that I had seen first. I don't know. And one of it's the liquid nitrogen kill is the one that sticks with me out of all of these movies. So like I guess that's why I put it there. But I thought it was interesting, because it was in space, though it's like super ridiculous. Are any of the Jason films like not ridiculous? I just ranked it there because I thought it was nice and different, and it wasn't just at a camp. So yeah. After that, I'm probably gonna go Final Chapter. It didn't it didn't really. I thought it was cool because it wasn't just at a camp. Like we get to see like people and their houses, and like you're dealing with kind of a family as well. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, yeah, we don't get much of a backstory on them, but you get characters that it's like, oh shit, like it would suck if they died because they have family members or whatever. But I ranked it kind of low because I think the final. So I guess it was this. I don't really remember any of their names, but the sister, and Tommy were kind of dumb at the end when they were trying to escape from Jason. Like her walking back down the steps to see if her friend was actually dead or whatever was like, what? Oh, Trish. Yeah, Trish. You're right. So yeah, when she walked back down the steps to go see if her friend was still alive, knowing that Jason didn't follow her up the steps, I was like, why would you do that? Like, why would you just not like get out? But it was between her and Tommy when like he was a kid in that movie. I was like, you guys are kind of dumb. Like, I'm sorry. I wasn't really here for some of the decisions that the characters made. After that one, I'm gonna go with number 1. The original one. It was really slow. We've gotten those. That's been said. It was really slow, so I was kind of in and out with it. I was really thrown off because I never knew that the mom made an actual appearance in the films. I always thought that maybe she would have just been in like flashbacks or something. I don't know. So when we got that twist at the end, I was like, wait, what the fuck? This is a Jason movie and Jason's not even in it. So like it was really weird to me. And then I didn't really like the fact that like she was going around and she was killing all these characters, and then when we got to our final girl, like the final girl was fighting her off, and every time she got hit she like made the most dramatic fall, and she stayed on the ground for like ages, and then when she got her head chopped off she literally just like let it happen. She didn't even like do anything, she didn't move, she didn't fight back. So I was kind of just like weirded out about that too. But yeah, that one's ranked pretty low for me. After that one I'm gonna go with 8. I think that was Takes Manhattan, right? That was Takes Manhattan. So it did feel slow in the beginning for me. It seemed like they were trying to, like, I don't know. It seemed like they were trying to get like a backstory for the characters or something. For some of it, which was like cool. I don't mind like getting backstory for characters, but then we were on the ship for so long, and I really thought that the whole movie was going to take, like, I actually watched this one with my boyfriend, and I just kept looking at him and going, so does this whole movie take place on a ship? Because like, why is it called Jason Takes Manhattan? I'm so confused. And it seemed really it just seemed really ridiculous. And then once we got to Manhattan, like, I feel like there was so many missed opportunities for like more kills, just because he ran through crowds of people, ignored all of them, and was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna go after these kids. I mean, granted, they didn't really get in the way, but like, I was still just like, what? Um, I don't know. But yeah, so after that, number 5 comes after that one. Just because mainly probably because of the fake Jason reveal. And that whole movie just was like, I wasn't really here for that movie. I don't think that I paid a lot of attention to it either. So I truthfully don't have any comments on it. And then after that was Ghost to Hell. That movie was odd for me just because of the whole eating the heart. Like, I just thought that was weird. I guess like he did possess the dude, but it was such a weird concept for me. And then the fact that Jason now has like like a family that's not just him was really weird. Um, it just seemed like they just wanted to have another Jason movie, so they decided to like come up with that on the spot, and we had no like backstory or anything for that. Let me see. And then the fact that the dagger situation threw me off too, because I was like, nothing can kill. Like, he just keeps coming back. Who came up with like a magical dagger that could kill him? I don't know. I did like the end where they kind of set up for Freddy versus Jason, though. I kind of got excited about that, to be honest. But yeah, after that, I put 2, just because like we did get some good kills in 2, but it literally just felt like another like number 1. Like, we were just killing people in the woods. Like, that's all it was. And then I put 3 all the way at the bottom, only because like I barely remember 3. So yeah, that's it. that's my list.
All right, that's an interesting list, actually. Yeah, yeah, we had the
All
same
right.
similar list at the start, and you just like went off. Like, nice. All right, Austin, the
You
floor is yours.
get ready for mine. Get
Yeah, I'll
ready
ban you
for
later.
mine.
All right, roast them
right.
and put them in the flames.
All right, so how my list is going to go is a little bit differently. So my experience with Friday the 13th movies is that funny enough, half of them I've seen more than the other half. So thankfully this is like split down. So I'm going to start with the bottom 6, starting from worst to best of the worst, and then starting from the top 6, which is from the bottom best to top best. So, at number 12, I would say it's probably Jason Part 5, because it's not Jason. This movie bored me the fuck out. I think, in my personal opinion, I think Tommy was a worser character than he was in the 4th one. I didn't really like the roided out crazy man. That's just me. I thought it just took away too much. And just the fact that some of the kills were okay, some of the kills were not. There was one or two characters that were memorable and were likable, but overall, the movie wasn't very enjoyable to me. I just low key just didn't really care for it, and I've only seen it once, and I only need to see it once. And number 11 will probably be Jason Takes Manhattan. I like it slightly for certain reasons. Like I think some of the physical body work of some of the actors, like when what's his name, the boxer gets his head knocked off and Kane taking all those blows. Like there's some really cool moments in Jason Takes Manhattan, but overall the film sucks. And that's just how I feel. I think like again all the yeah, Julius is the boxer, correct. I really like Julius. He was actually a really kind of funny, cool character, and he had a really comedic but also awesome kill in the series. It's one of my favorites, but not my top one. And yeah, it's a bottom of the barrel movie. You only need to see it once. Like if I would say like Jason 5, I would recommend not seeing it, but that's up to you. That's my personal opinion. Jason Takes Manhattan, I think you need to see at least once because of how stupid it is. And you can still get some enjoyment out of it, but that's pretty much it. Not really much else to say about the movie other than it was another boring movie with some highlights that I personally enjoyed. Number 10, I'm a little bit mixed between this because this is when I start going to it's because I haven't watched them enough to appreciate them, but I would say number 10 would be number 1, the original movie. I've only seen it once, and I was pretty young at the time, so it was kind of hard to remember, but I did watch a quick recap video of it. For its time, it was pretty cool for its time. It was like almost like again, it's taken sort of like a Halloween approach, but some of the kills in the like when Kevin Bacon gets killed with the arrow through his neck, the way they did that, like I've heard and seen the behind the scenes about that. That was like really crazy. It was insane how they had to do that, and they basically had to blow a tube of like blood through it, a prosthetic through Kevin Bacon's neck, which is really cool. Except for it was like super hard to do, if you remember, because of how old it is. Tom Savini tried really hard. It worked in the end, so I was pretty glad about that. But the whole like twist with it being Pamela is kind of cool, but it's also like sort of predictable. When you on a first watch, I was a little kid and I kind of already recognized it. Yeah, it was one with Bacon. It kind of failed, but I think it became a mess. The tube became a mess, but it overall, yeah, Savini blew into it. He had to manually blow into it, kind of malfunctioned, which is a cool, interesting note. But like again, it's not a terrible movie. Like out of all the Jason films, in my personal opinion, the terrible ones is 5 and 8. That's the only ones I would deem as the most like unenjoyable, least watchable ones. I would say the first one you'd like what a few of us said here is you just watch it one and you're done. That's all you need, pretty much. Again, not a bad film, but it definitely made its move in its prime. Number 9, we're just going to go up the ladder. I would say number 9 is probably 2. Again, it's a one that I've only watched like maybe twice when I was very young. I think my dad had it on one time and I watched it. It was not scary. Like I didn't easily get scared by the Friday the 13th films. I was mostly enjoyed how the characters died. Funny enough, how the characters died, and just how enjoyable the movie could be. Like said, number 2, it was okay. I kind of liked the main character, but didn't really. Like again, it was a more forgettable movie to me. Same with 3, but I'll get to that in a sec. Like I said, it was almost forgettable. Like honestly, the first 3 Jason movies, in my opinion, are some of the most forgettable. But otherwise, they're still enjoyable. My personal opinion. Anything else to say about 2? Not really. Other than that, there's a few kills in there that are pretty good, and there's some that are like whatever. Like Tom Savini did his duty, or I think Tom Savini did the second one. I don't remember, but there's some good kills in that one. Oh, 1 and 4. Okay, yeah, it wasn't Tom Savini, but they had some like decent kills in the second one, even though it was like Hillbilly Jason, which is kind of funny. Jason 3 though, I've probably watched this 2 or 3 times. My personal experience, again, it's sort of it's sort of forgettable. Mark's death is like the highlight of like the kills for me. It's just cleaver, like the freaking shetty to the face, falls down the stairs, hilarious and very fun moments. Like it has its moments. The 3D elements I don't really mind. I don't really care. Some of them are bad, some of them are good. Some of the shots they do in the movie are kind of cool. Otherwise, it's pretty obvious what they were trying to do. This is when Jason gets his mask, which is dope, but it's pretty much like it was like, oh, it became a red herring because the one prankster kid has it and he's like teasing them all about it, and it becomes a little thing where he puts on the mask and they think he's the prankster kid. I can't remember the name. It's been a long time since I've seen the third one, but again, it was enjoyable. It could have been better in my opinion, but we'll move on. That was number 8. Number 7, I would probably have to say almost a tie, but I would say probably Jason 4. It's here. I've seen this movie maybe 5 times, maybe 4 times in my life. I can remember most of it because it's where Jason technically dies. I rank it at the bottom best. This movie I enjoyed. It's not something that's that's not forgettable. I really like I love the brother sisters relationship between Tommy and Trish. I thought that was a really like heartwarming, very kind of cool. It made for basically 2 survivors in the end, which was really cool. This is when Tom Savini came back. Awesome practical effects, awesome kills, and Jason's death eventually at the end of the movie is super good. It's basically, I think the pacing of those movies is one of the better in the franchise, in my opinion. Has probably some of the better pacing from kills to actual like story progression of like Tommy and Trish. However, it does have its memes like he's killing me, and shit like that. Like it's fun. It's a fun movie. I would say that Jason 4 is definitely a fun movie. It's worth a rewatch from time to time. That's my personal opinion. And now we're going into basically my top 6. And as a quick note, I've probably seen these movies more than 10 times. Just saying. So again, my opinions from the bottom 6 is mostly because I haven't seen them much or I just really didn't care for them. The top 6 I've probably seen more than 5 to 6 times, maybe even 10 times. And I just enjoy them a lot more than others for various reasons. And number 6 would probably, this is going to be probably the most questionable one, but it's probably part 6. For that reason being is that it's the least one I've seen out of the top 6. If I probably watched it more, I would probably enjoy more, but this is definitely my favorite of the Tommy franchise, the trilogy films. I think this one has a lot more passion, a lot more heart, a lot more, and it's just a lot more of a grittier movie in the terms of that Jason's like undead. Like how everyone said on here, Jason's undead. He's ready to exact revenge upon the entire world as much as he can. Cause he just doesn't give a fuck. He's undead. He can do whatever the hell he wants. Some really cool shots in this movie. Some really creative kills for not having Tom Savini on this movie. To be fair. Excuse me. And I don't know. It was probably one of my like. I remember watching this when I think the first time I watched this was when I was like 9 or 10, and it was on like a streaming service at one point. It was Jason 6. I was like, oh cool, I'll watch it because I haven't seen it before, and my dad has, and he's like, oh yeah, this one's a kind of cool one, and we watched it, and it's still me and my dad's like favorite like Tommy movie of the 3. That's still our favorite, and it's just because they have a great actor for Tommy. They have a really good girl lead. She's like the love interest of Tommy. She's really cool. Her dad is pretty dope, even though he does die in a brutal way too. Like his death is pretty brutal. His fucking spine gets completely destroyed. And it honestly, like other than 4 trying to be the final movie, I think yeah. Spoilers. I think if they ended on 6, it would have been for the better. It's like 4, yeah, Tom Savini came back, so he thought he was gonna finish it, and then they're like, oh, we're gonna make more money, yada yada. Yes, his death was backbreaking. But if I had to say what was like probably the best way to end the Friday franchise would probably be 6, if I had to be honest. I think 6 would have, if they ended it there, it would have been a really better conclusion to, I hate it here. A pretty cool conclusion to basically the Jason story. But then again, they had to make more movies, and the next movies they made are actually some of my favorites in the entire franchise, funny enough. So, yeah, that's number 6. Very good movie, very good shots, very good kills. Overall, is definitely probably it's in my top 6, but I think my top 6 are pretty much almost tied. Yeah, it's pretty much all my top 6 are pretty much tied with each other, but there's like some I might have to like elaborate in a little bit. Number 5, it probably would be, this one. I would say probably say remake. I've actually, if I remember correctly, I've seen the remake like probably 4 times. How brutal remake is of Friday the 13th. It's super good. Like, it's super good. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's in my personal opinion, it's one of the better horror remakes that have come out. It's just, I love Jason able to, he's grunting and running and like he's moving at a pace towards his prey. It's super brutal, super, as honestly, if there's any Friday movies that would get me kind of scared. Yes, I think Jason, the Jason remake is probably the more terrifying just because he's fast. He's just coming at you. His trap is like, oh, that's honestly probably, if I would say that's probably one of my quote unquote favorite like Jason like portrayals, is that he's just a beast. And I love it. I love that he's a beast. Yeah, like honestly, remake is definitely worth a watch. Definitely worth the time to put into it. Some people might not like it because there might be like old faithful to the the bestest fuckboy. Yeah. Some people might not like the remake because they're more of a like they purists where they prefer the older ones, which is completely fine. But for like an actual kind of like tension and like super tension and super like, oh my god, like we're going to die, remake is up there as probably one of the better Friday the 13th movies in my personal opinion. Now we'll get into the top 4, which, if I have to completely be honest, they all tie in my opinion, and enjoyable, how much I like them and how much I rewatch them. These ones I've probably watched more than 15 to 20 times, maybe even 30. I remember watching these like almost every month for like years. If I had to say, number 4 would probably be Jason Goes to Hell. Jason Goes to Hell is my 4th favorite. I really like this movie personally. I know the premise is stupid as all hell. I know that slug possessive Jason this is like the Jason movie where there's incest, essentially. Like the whole plot premise is having incest so he can get his powers back, which is really fucked up, and I understand that. However, I don't know why, I just really like this movie. I am not wrong. But it's essentially what it is. He has to go inside one of his family members to gain his powers back. It's either through a small baby that he's related to or the dead woman that he's related to. Choose your pick. Choose your pick. Saying that, though, I really love the kills in this movie. The kills in this movie are pretty great, especially the unrated version. I don't know why. I just really, the whole premise of him possessing bodies, I just got that a lot more than I just got that a lot more. I don't know. I find this movie more enjoyable the more I watched it. Either on the fact of the kills, or that the main lead, the dude, I can't remember his name, but he was a badass. Like, he jumps over cuffs, like he's cuffed behind his back, and he does a he does a stunt, and like the dude doesn't even look like he's a stuntsman, and he jumps out of his cuffs to take down Jason, and like he becomes his protector. Yeah, again, the plot of this is a Friday the 13th movie. Jason Goes to Hell. It's meant to be a Jason movie. Yet they completely fucked that up. However, if you just don't think about it like that, you can bypass it and say, yeah, if you bypass that, this movie's really fun. Even with the weird fucking incest side story it's basically having of how Jason's gonna get his powers back. Other than that, I still think this is a really enjoyable movie. Really good effects, really good kills. It's brutal, and I just love it. And that's pretty much all I have to say about it. Then we get into probably the top 3. Number 3 was probably ooh. I would have to say right now, the top 3 is probably the top 3 is probably all tied. I'm gonna say right now, the top 3 are tied right now. Like, I can't rank them. I would say number 3 though would probably be Freddy vs. Jason. Love the soundtrack. Had the soundtrack to this movie is me and my dad's one of our favorite bands that we listen to. I love the fucking song. It's very cool. The whole premise of that Freddy is he revives Jason so that people can remember Freddy on Elm Street. I love it. Yes, give it to me. Freddy using Jason to kill for him because he disguises himself as his mother is brilliant. Because Jason technically is undead. He's just sleeping, which sort of makes sense. And it works, in my opinion. And some of the kills of this movie are actually pretty good. I actually really think some of the kills in this movie are actually really good. Yeah, the CGI is dated and bad as shit, but I love fucking Centipede Freddy smoking a goddamn hookah. It's fucking great. That's like some of the moments in Freddy vs. Jason is great. I love it. It's just, and some like there is some sequences where it is a bit boring. I would say out of all the Friday movies, Freddy vs. Jason does have some like the worser pacings of all the movies, in my personal opinion. However, when we do get the fights, when we do get like the entirety of Freddy vs. Jason, it's super good, and it's to this day still one of my favorite quote unquote Friday the 13th movies to watch. Number 2 would have to be Jason 7. New Blood. I think that's what it is, New Blood. I love Jason 7. Trying to be quick here. I love Jason 7. I love the whole psychic powers. I love supernatural versus supernatural, especially when it's coming from Jason versus somebody. Jason versus Freddy. Great premise. It's supernatural being versus another supernatural being. Give it to me. Great. This one, I like this a little bit more just because of the fact that even with the censored kills, it's fucking Kane, dude. It's Kane playing as his favorite role he's ever done. And just the fucking brutality of him as Jason, excuse me. It's just so good. It's so good. I just love Kane so much. And he's just so cool. It's probably, and Jason 7 is probably my favorite like Jason look ever. Undead Jason, his spine is showing. He's got a zombie face. It is brilliant. He is just a monster, and I love it. Again, the kills in this movie are not great, but the implications in them are pretty cool. And to this day, this is spoiling for a future talk, but this has the best kill in the franchise, which is Jason picking up the sleeping bag, hitting it against a tree. She's dead. It's pure brutal strength. My favorite kill in the series, and Kane Hodder's favorite kill he's ever done. And I agree. That is my favorite freaking kill in the entire series is Tree Bash. Super good, super effective. I'm glad that they censored it because the uncensored version is he repeatedly hits her against the tree. And I think on a visual standpoint, it doesn't make sense. Jason takes this freaking 90-pound slim woman, whacks her across a giant tree with his brute strength, breaks her in two. Perfect. The absolute brutality of Jason is perfect in that moment. And that pretty much sums it, other than the fact that Carrie 2.0 uses her abilities to bring back her dad to that's a good one, Cryo. And I honestly, the ending to the movie is probably one of my favorite Jason endings. Is that she summons her dad coming back. The whole premise, the whole plot is that she killed her dad with her powers. She regrets it, so she wants him back, but she accidentally brings back Jason from 6, which makes sense. And I really like that she uses her powers, so basically, he doesn't really quote unquote come back. It's just that she basically projects him. If you think about it, she just envisions her dad coming out to save her, chain up Jason once again, which is a really cool ending to the movie, in my personal opinion. It's probably one of the better parts. Like I said, the Jason 7's like tied with the top 3 in my opinion, and that goes to it. Now the top one, all of you can guess it, is Jason X. I've seen Jason X probably 40-50 times. This is a movie that my dad used to constantly put on back in the day. Probably when I was like 13, 14. Jason X is just, Jason X, if I had to say it, is probably the best like space horror movie. Like original horror movie going to space. It's probably one of the better ones. Maybe the best ones of everything. Yes, Renegade. Yes, Renegade. I didn't mean space horror. I meant taking an old franchise like Friday and taking it to space. I think this is the best it has done. That's what I meant. Alien and Aliens is still one of my favorite fucking movies of all time. I will say that with a goddamn conscience. But Jason in space, the way they do it, in my personal opinion, is so good. I'm not saying Alien is worse than Jason X. I meant, hey, whatever. We'll talk about it later. Like I said, like movies like Leprechaun in Space and Cenobites in Space and shit. Those all are like whatever. They're terrible. I think Jason X is the only one to pull it off that's actually pretty good, in my personal opinion. Does it very good. Does it very good. The kills in this movie are actually pretty gruesome and pretty great. Liquid nitrogen lady smash her face, even though it's like Mythbusters proved it wrong. That was still a really good kill. It's a very good opening kill. When Jason's on the ship. When Jason fucks up the soldiers at the beginning is pretty brutal. Even though some of it's like there's like 1 or 2 soldiers who shouldn't have died there. Yeah. Most of the kills he does on the ship is actually really good. Other than like the typical he slashes somebody in half and they die. Or rips them off, or like rips them apart. What's his name? The black dude, Bolowski, or whatever his name is. Can't remember or pronounce it without reading it. But one of the best, Brodsky, yeah, Bolowski. One of the best like quote unquote side characters, because he's goddamn badass and it's basically Hammond from Dead Space. So you got me there. And I think Jason just going around killing everyone and it's just so good. Just so good. And then you get to the android chick who just fucking kicks his ass because the nerd dude just they pretty much have sex and she just gets a power up and upgrade. If you remember that part of the movie, android gets better because she has sex. That's it. And so she's able to kick ass. I don't know why that's a thing, but it works. He kisses her and she's like, our survival rate goes up to 23%. It's like, why don't we make it 100? And they pretty much just have sex right then and there. And that's how they're able to kick his ass. I don't know why, but I really like that. Still, he kissed her, and she's like, "We have a survival rate going up," and then he pretty much screws her, and she gets a power up. It's essentially what they implied at that scene in time. But wrapping this up quickly though. Again, it's probably one of my favorites because there's tons of good kills. Most of the characters are actually pretty good, other than ones that are fodder to get killed. Like the last 4 or 5 characters are pretty fun, pretty likable, and they're like, we need to survive. Like we need to get the fuck out of here and kill Jason somehow. And then Uber Jason comes up, and you're like, oh shit, like he's about to stir some shit up. He does. He's like, honestly, Uber Jason's one of the coolest designs for Jason, other than Undead Jason. It's still probably one of the cooler looking Jasons. He's just super metal, super ripped, and just he's a brute. And I love it. Even though the whole process of it is dumb plot wise, it's still pretty dope. I love Uber Jason. He's just so cool. It's just heavy metal Jason. Is essentially what it is. And then when freaking Broski basically sacrifices himself to launch him back to Earth is super cool. And he comes back after being stabbed twice. The dude is not dead. He just survives almost everything as a badass, and then he takes Jason to hell. Basically, he takes Jason to hell with him, and it's awesome. It's one of the better endings. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's my top 12 of the Friday films. I love my top 6, even though the 6th one and 5th one I've seen the least amount in my top 6. But yeah, one of my favorite franchises, and like I said, I'm probably one of the wild cards here. But yeah, that's my list.
We need to take it to the alley though from that hedonism comment you made earlier.
Take it to the alley. What?
What's going on? I know I said some
Throw
shit.
hands.
So something about Jason X and being better than Alien, or I don't know. I kind of like phase
better
up.
than
didn't say
space
that.
horror.
No, it's.
Yeah,
I will
Yeah.
leave. I will leave this right now.
That's not what I meant,
come-
guys.
Come
I
here,
know, it's
Austin.
okay.
Come
All right,
here,
I
Austin.
will.
I just want to talk to you. I just want to talk.
I
didn't
will
mean to
defend
say it
him.
that way.
I will defend him. He did correct himself and said it's not
Yeah.
the best space horror. It's just the best where they took an icon to space and it was
Right,
done.
right.
Also.
Correct. Compared to
Later in the
Leprechaun and
franchise.
Hellraiser.
Dang.
Oh, yeah, he's absolutely correct about that. But still, we need to have a little conversation in the alley right there, man. Got some liquid nitrogen. No.
Oh my god, Jesus.
Yeah.
All right, so now the floor is open to the final 4 questions. And this is talking about your favorite and least favorite. So we're able to sort of converse and people can give their opinion on least favorite and favorite kills in the series so far.
Oh, okay. No, I'm gonna go first on this one. My
Go ahead.
favorite kill is honestly the one in Jason Goes to Hell when he split that girl upwards with that metal.
It's a good
Sick.
one.
Yeah, that shit was brutal when you watch the uncut version. I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, that's my
Very
favorite kill.
brutal.
That was pure shock value, and I love it. I'll see. Least favorite? Shit. The ones that you don't see happen on screen, I guess. I don't know. That's on me to pick, to be quite honest.
Yeah, just by default.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
people, especially in the first one, there's people getting stabbed and they make these funny faces. It was one guy in glasses, I'm not sure of the character, but he had a raincoat. And then he went to check and see who it was with Pamela, and then he got stabbed in 5 seconds. I looked away, and that death was literally that long. And I was like, I missed something? What the fuck? I had to rewind it.
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about from the original Steve Christie. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Steve. Yeah, they did it because back then it was common to do cutaways like that.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna-
That's all it was in the end.
Any more favorites? Favorite
Well,
kills?
there's
I-
liquid nitrogen.
Yes,
Of course.
liquid nitrogen.
That's a good one.
I
That's
really
probably my second favorite.
that's my first favorite. and then I was also gonna say the boxing one in Jason Takes Manhattan, just
that's great.
because he wasted all of his stamina punching him to the edge of the roof not to kick him off, and then Jason was like, "All right, you done? You done? You done? All right, cool, my turn." And then he just
That's a good point.
It's funny because that's one of the better kills in the Friday the 13th game. It's super quick and super fun. Pull it off.
Yes.
I'll say, I mean, we've talked about the sleeping bag kill. That's maybe my favorite. I love the simplicity of it, and I love that.
Which one?
They didn't. The original sleeping bag kill, the only one in my mind that exists.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
But-
going to ignore the double tag team? Okay.
And Jason X, yeah, I'm not a fan of it personally, but
I think it's.
Go ahead.
In the New Blood, I love the simplicity of it. I love like the one whack, and they didn't go with the original version. Like, because when there's just that one whack, like it has weight to it, you know.
Yeah, he does it like
shows how strong he is.
he does it 5
exactly.
times in the work print. And I thought that was even for that, I thought that was a bit too much.
Although, hold up though, if he did do it 5 times though, they could have added more gore to it, or at least they could attempt to, because like with his strength, get smacked 5 times, you'll be mush from that.
Yeah, she sort of came out looking normal after that. I was like, nah, maybe that should be like maybe once or twice, and that's it.
Yeah, because
I'm sorry.
when
continue,
I
please.
oh no, you're fine. I was just gonna add to the sleeping bag. It's even funnier when you realize the behind the scenes with that, because that scene was getting reshot so many times, and Kane fucking hated it. So he said, "You know what? Screw this." He took the bag and he just slammed it against the tree. And they were like, "Okay, yep, that's going in the film. That's perfect. That's Jason."
We've brought up that and liquid nitrogen. Like, I do want to bring up one more just because we haven't talked about it yet, but I can't remember the character name in part 3 where he's doing a handstand. The camera's underneath him, underneath the
he gets
glass, and Jason just gets Jason just splits him right in the.
Oh
groin.
yes, that one.
That's a great
That
kill.
was a very good kill.
I'm surprised he didn't even like jump down with this something, man. He just looked at him and he got split in half. Like, bro, do something at least.
Am I the only guy that's like the aftermath is even worse because his entire leg, his entire torso is like split down the middle.
The one thing that does bother me though, that his intestines weren't falling down.
It's not Tom Savini, that's why.
Oh,
true.
But I still enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah, like I said, that's a good kill.
Trying to think of like favorite real quick. I would say Julius getting his head punched off because it's so funny and entertaining. It's like
the best kill in the movie.
He's fighting like really
100%.
hard. He's fighting for his motherfucking life, and then he's like, "Take your best shot." Jason's like, "Okay," and he does it, and his head comes off. I love it.
The best kill in the movie. That's probably one of the highlights as well.
Trying to think of least favorite. Any kill involving someone simply being tossed out of a window is boring.
Same.
Is boring. Is uninspired.
Was that 3?
No, I'm sorry.
It was
No,
all
4
of
had
them. Everybody
Four-
in like every movie, there was a window. Somebody getting tossed out of a window.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the one in 4 I
this
think
one,
is
though.
awesome, where she lands on
Yeah,
top of the
the
car and
toss
like
on
the
top of the car?
squid blows out
Yeah.
the windows.
Exactly.
That-
That right there
like
is the
the better
best
one.
one.
That's
out of all of
cool.
them.
That's cool,
But
but
in Jason 7 or 3? I can't remember.
That was in 4. That was in the
Four.
final chapter.
Hey, that was the 4 one? Okay, mine was mixed
Yeah,
up.
one with the
Yeah.
car. Yeah.
yeah, but just the
Fourth
other
one's, that one's good.
just the other ones where it's like someone gets thrown into sheer like dirt or whatever. I'm like, you probably could survive that. So
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
That happened in part 7.
That's in the
You
New
couldn't-
Blood.
yeah,
That's the one
Yeah.
in part 7, where like she lands on the ground and it just sounds like a cat landing on a pillow. There's like no impact at all.
I'm pretty sure she'd be okay. At least have a concussion, but I think she'd be alive.
All right. So anyone on favorite and least favorite kills?
I think I'm good.
It was just out the window for me.
Ah,
Besides, except the one, I forget which movie where it was where he like half threw the girl out the window and then yoinked her back in, and then like later on when you come back to that cabin, the walls are painted. with her blood, but that's like it.
Oh, that's on part 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's part 6.
Oh, it is. You're right. Yeah.
I think it was funny that
mean-
he's not done, so that kind of added a comedic element to it.
Yeah.
Sure.
To be honest, one of my favorites. Now this is a tie between when Jason did his usual, cock blocking, and Jason Goes to Hell. But there's a scene in the diner where towards the end of the film, Jason ends up getting stabbed or impaled.
Oh, you talking about the
And then-
waitress?
Crushes her
Yeah,
head.
and then he pulled her towards impaled her with him. And then in the unrated version though, she ends up spitting blood in his face and she says "go to hell," while he ends up just squishing her head and just blood shoots up.
That's a
She
good
from her
deserves
head.
better. She deserves
really
way
good one.
better.
I liked that kill.
You know
As
what?
much as I hated saying that because I actually liked that character, that was actually one of my favorite kills.
You know
Lee's
what?
though
But
is the guy that just got thrown off, and actually no, the weakest was when Jason killed those people on the ship, and Jason takes Manhattan
Oh, yeah.
because he's
Oh,
the one
yeah,
that caused the ship to sink. That was like the weakest.
Actually,
You know
hold up though. One thing to add too. There were actually a lot more students on that boat too, and you don't see them get killed off. The teacher put
Nah.
them in some room or whatever, and you don't see them die.
The
or
disco
anything.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just it sunk. Everyone's dead.
I know my worst least favorite kill.
What's up,
Roy.
bro? No, he got drop kicked or his arm cut off to the spike, so I can forgive that one. I don't mind that one.
Least favorite
too
because
much.
it's not Jason being Jason.
Well, I mean the
Yeah.
spikes
Well, he
added.
does.
Yeah, he dies, but the spikes added some impact, so I can kind of forgive it. I guess that goes into like least favorite Jason deaths or whatever, and favorite Jason deaths. Like, you guys have
Yeah,
any?
that's a nice point.
Yeah.
I mean, favorite's got to be when Tommy Jarvis kills him in part 4. That's the best one with his face sliding down the machete.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
A good one.
like, what do you pick over that? You know, like it's undefeated.
because that took a few takes, I think, just to get it right with the
And-
blood.
The kid himself hated the director, so he's like, imagine him killing
Yeah,
the director with a machete.
Actually, that is true. I almost forgot about that because everybody on set, they did not like the director. Though Ted White said that he appreciates what the guy was trying to do. He was trying to get a good movie going, but he should have
He's a
had the
hard ass.
safety. He should have had the safety of the cast on his mind as well, because he actually
Yeah.
did not. And for the shower scene, he actually did not want a crash pad behind the actor's head when Ted White pushed him against the wall. The director did not want a crash pad, and Ted White's like, no, that shit is hard. He could have a concussion or get seriously injured. So no, crash pad it is. Rubber to the head.
yeah.
Not
And
just
then there's
that,
the
though, but the
incident-
water.
I was just gonna say, yeah, the incident with the actress in the water who dies on the raft,
Oh,
also a great
oh,
kill, just because of the sound she makes.
yeah.
Honorable mention for that, but
Oh god.
yeah, apparently she was like turning
Hyper-
cyanotic, like her lips were blue, and
Yeah, she
it was
was
really bad.
almost hypothermia, and Ted White went, you know what? If you don't get her towels right now and let her warm up, I'm quitting. I'm
Yeah.
walking off the set.
And good on him too. Like massive
Yeah.
props to Ted
Yeah.
White for that, for looking out for her.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like least favorite Jason deaths, because I mean we already talked about like most favorite, which is the machete kill in part 4 of him sliding down. So I'm thinking of like deaths that were mid. I can't really think of any right now.
What, for like what Jason killed or Jason
For
like
him-
Jason
for him.
deaths?
For him being killed.
Oh,
For him being killed, to be quite honest, though, I will say the the one in part 7 where zombie dad come up. The reason why I have a problem with that is because how did he kill Jason? You know, I understand technically he would be a zombie though, but they didn't showcase that pretty well.
Yeah, that's one of the few things I did not like about part 7. I like the telekinesis shit, and I liked what's the girl, Tina? I enjoyed that,
Tina.
but I didn't like Dad just coming out of nowhere and grabbing him and pulling him back down.
It didn't make any. It didn't make any sense because because his body is still in the lake,
and it still looks good. It's not decayed or anything.
Yeah, because
I don't know. Maybe that's part of the resurrection. Like, I don't know.
Probably, yeah.
Or maybe that's
the
what
decomposition. I don't know.
Or maybe that's what maybe she did bring him back, but she saw what he looked like before he died.
It's so weird. It's just, and if that's a
they
death,
didn't really
it's weird.
explain that part very well.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs to be explained. You just roll with it.
Honestly, I didn't care much for Jason's death, quote unquote, at the beginning of Jason Goes to Hell.
Oh, I like that one, man, because you hear him grunt a lot. And then dudes came in and just blew his ass.
I'm a big fan of the
I'm like, about time.
That was a Jason nut right there.
For different reasons.
Why is he making that noise when he? Well, I thought that was weird because in the past movies, when he was a zombie, he usually just takes the bullet. In this one, he's like, it's like.
Well, in fairness, though, they could be using higher caliber weapons.
I don't know, man. That just turned me off a little bit.
Yeah, but Jason did flinch to low caliber weapons in part 7, so like it wouldn't be unrealistic.
No, I mean he flinches, but he doesn't make like a damn noise where he's like.
He doesn't.
Well, that's still not true because he did grunt it when Tina was kicking his ass.
Well, that's Tina. We're talking about like him getting shot. Like even in that movie when he was getting shot, he was like, I'm just gonna take it, whatever. So it's kind of a little bit inconsistent.
You know what? How about this? Here's a good question to actually add on to this one. What is the grossest Friday the 13th death?
The goriest one?
You said grossest?
Grossest, goriest, whichever one.
The most.
Oh, that's actually a hard one because especially the ones that are made by New Line or at least the later ones afterwards, like their kills get pretty damn gory.
I'm gonna go with what Brandon said earlier, where the lady gets like sliced up the middle, and Jason Goes to Hell uncensored. That's pretty nasty.
Yeah. Either that or that guy that got his head smooshed in by Jason in the beginning, because he flipped him off and called him a pussy or whatever.
Oh, you know what? If we're gonna bring up like differing kills from versions or whatever, that kill where the guy gets his head smushed in part 7, the workshop edition, and it turns into, and they literally say it turns into a walnut. That was like, what the fuck? He literally, I'm so mad that got censored because he literally like turned his head into like a zucchini.
I know we've mentioned it several times when it comes to, I guess, most disturbing. For me, it probably would be the liquid nitrogen kill, because I don't know if y'all have ever had liquid nitrogen on your skin. I have, and I still have scars from it. So
how long you had it on you? Holy shit.
It was for like a wart removal, like when I was younger, like a little bit of like personal stuff. Like when I was a little younger, I had like a really bad problem with like warts on my left leg. I don't know why. I just had like a lot of them. So at one point, my mom took me to have them burned off with liquid nitrogen. It was so fucking painful. And they only did like 1 or 2, so they applied it to like 1 or 2 small parts of my skin on my left shin. I still have scars from it, and it hurt really, really bad. So imagining like my entire head and face being submerged into it, it's not pleasant.
Too? No.
Yeah.
I mean, at least now if you have somebody over, you can just go, you want to know how I got these scars?
Okay.
Oh god, I hate you.
I have so many fucking so many burn scars from working at McDonald's. I keep getting burned in the fryer.
Weebs.
All right, we gotta move on.
What about Jason Goes to Hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Real.
got to move on to the next one though, which is favorite and least favorite Jason outfit.
NES
Okay,
Jason.
the best one. Yes, Jason. What?
What?
NES Jason.
He's purple and
Okay.
like blue is weird.
Yeah, well, for the best
Blueberry.
one though, is part 7. Like, bar none. That's the best Jason. It's so
That-
fucking gnarly.
I
I feel the
agree.
same way.
Strongly agree.
The
Sa-
second one, though, personally though, I probably gotta give it to Freddy vs. Jason because I just love how imposing he looks. No,
Uh,
yeah, he's taller than Kane Hodder though, but I just love how he
I
looks.
like
But
that he
seriously,
has a
nothing
jacket.
tops Kane's. Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But nothing tops Kane's looking on part 7. Like that's just so gnarly.
Yeah, part 7 is probably my favorite Jason look.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I liked how the mask actually had the had
Tommy
part of
cut?
the mask like just broken off because of the boat.
Yep.
I actually liked that, and then at the end, just Tina just destroys the mask. I actually love that.
Oh, for sure. The face makeup. Yeah, we're talking about the design of like the exposed spine and the chipped mask, which is awesome. But like the actual makeup that they have in part 7, I mean, I think it's honestly better than Tom Savini's in part 4.
and
It's really, really good. I think
Fox-
it's best in the franchise.
I don't mean to keep, I don't mean to suck Kane Hodder's dick even more here, but can we applaud the man for, being set on fire?
Oh, 100%.
The longest record, like I think it was ever now, or at the time ever. I mean,
I have
yeah,
no
he's
idea
got some
personally,
burn
but-
scars.
Yeah, for
Can we
like
also applaud? I'm sorry. Can we also applaud CJ Graham in part 6 for doing that water and like fire stunt, because he was not like an experienced actor. I don't believe he was like a nightclub owner. I think, if I remember correctly. And he did like
I
all
think-
the stunts and everything himself. He was like really happy to do it. So big props to
Yeah,
him.
he
I
was-
think he's a top 3 Jason actor in my mind.
honestly, yeah, because he was a bouncer, and I think before being a bouncer, he was actually in the military.
Yes, yeah. I think he was a Marine.
And actually, he almost killed the director's wife.
Yeah, but
Oh, that's right.
The pole like went the wrong way on entry, and so it nearly stabbed her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
and
Jesus.
and he said that he blames himself a little bit because of the fact that he was in the military. He was trained to basically do what he's ordered to do, so his mind automatically like clicks to it. If somebody that he's okay with like giving him like orders to do like on set or as a bouncer, he just follows it instantly. He got really like into the moment, and he didn't realize that until after she just moved out of the way, and he was like, oh shit.
All right, anyone else on costumes? Because we're sort of sidetracking.
I just want to say least favorite, definitely Jason Takes Manhattan, because of that horrible, horrible, laughable face makeup that they have for Jason.
Acid makeup?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
horrible. His
And the
his
sewers.
in the sewers, his face is like just. I mean, I know it's supposed to look ugly, but in terms of like makeup, it's just very plain looking, and it looks out of place. It doesn't even look like it's in tune with the rest of his body compared to like part 6. So it's really bad.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I say my least favorite is probably Jason 1 because it's sweater.
Oh, you mean Pamela?
Sweater Jason, pretty much.
That was not
Oh, no, no.
Jason, though. That was a count.
Yeah,
No,
that's
I'm just
Pamela.
memeing here. Least favorite would probably be EMT Jason 5.
Well, yeah, it's. Someone said it was bland, and I kind of agree. I
I
like
was
the
gonna say it's very plain.
Yeah,
I like the blue streaks on the mask, but that's about it.
yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
yeah.
Just
At
blue
least for
Jason.
me. At least it's
At
not
least
NES
Hillbilly Jason had
Blueberry.
some variety.
True. For me, least is New Beginning, Roy Burns. And then just for the best, it's a tie for me. Between the New Blood or New Blood, and then also the reboot remake of Friday the 13th. Because honestly, I liked how built that motherfucker was.
He
So
was brutal as
I
fuck, dude.
you can tell he tackles deer and kills them. So he doesn't need
Jesus.
tools. He just tackles them. But yeah,
All
that's my favorite and least favorite.
Des, you want to go next?
So my most favorite was 7.
Good choice.
I just thought that it was really cool that you could see like his spine and shit.
Yep.
Like I don't know, I couldn't get over it.
It's the best. We gotta
and
be
then
honest.
and then least favorite. Okay, so I don't like the bag over his head. Into like, and I know that's
Billy.
like, I don't know if that's like controversial or anything, because like what else is he gonna have? But I didn't like it, and his face was also weird. And somebody was saying in Manhattan, in the sewers. So yeah, that was weird too.
All right, I guess
I
Anybody
think,
else?
yeah.
I guess we can move on now to
All right.
favorite or least
Question 4.
favorite. Yeah, favorite or least favorite final girl or final guy.
Oh, this is easy for Final Guy, man. This is the only one Final Guy that matters. That's fucking Tommy.
Tommy,
Tommy is-
Tommy
easy,
Jarvis, motherfucker.
easy.
Yep. I liked
Easy
the
the
fact
best.
he survived 3 movies.
You know, he killed Jason, he killed Roy technically, and he sunk Jason in the water. This man earned his fucking stripes. He has a Purple Heart.
Purple Heart.
He has a medal of
Yes.
fucking honor, dude.
Yes.
I mean, not only that, but I really like Tom Matthews' performance in Part 6 as well.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic, man. I love Tommy. Just
In that regard, though, who's your
Tommy's the
favorite
most
Tommy
likable-
actor?
oh
Tom Matthews, 100%.
Tom Matthews.
Matthews.
Okay. All was in agreement
It's the
there.
most you could work with is number 6.
Okay, so I would say just anyone's like least favorite final guy, just everyone that's forgettable, right? It's easy. Super easy.
There's only like what 3 Final Guys, and the one in 7 wasn't bad actually, because at least he survived. No, he actually tried. I give him that
Yeah.
much. But I did also like the character in Remake, because again he also tried to defend himself and whatnot.
Damn
You know-
Winchester.
You know what? If I had a second runner up of favorites, I would say Steven from Jason Goes to Hell. I liked him.
I
He's
liked
cool.
him
Yeah,
a lot
Steven.
too.
Yeah, he
was
fought
dedicated
Jason and
to the
survived.
cause.
Yeah.
He
He was dedicated to the
He
fucking
was.
cause, dude.
He broke. It was the fact that he broke out of jail for me,
The
and
funniest
then
thing,
punched to the face after that.
yeah, and the
It was
funniest funniest thing was him getting his fingers broken by Duke because he wanted more information. So he just let him do.
Character.
Yeah, he let him do all that shit. Duke was funny, but I admit it was kind of
Ready
stupid.
to pay.
Honestly, his character was like not that great to me in general. I feel like he was just there to let them know how to kill Jason, and that was it. Like he didn't have any other purpose really.
He
I
was there to just beat the dude.
Device.
That's all.
I just like the fact that he was around to make jokes and say that he slept with one of the wives or the diner waiters or whatever. When he made that joke, I was like, okay, then this is just funny as shit to me.
I honestly, I forgot the guy's name. It was the guy in Friday the 13th, the original.
Hmm?
I forgot the guy's name
Just
because
say,
he was he was final guy. I can't remember.
just say Kevin Bacon died, and that's all you remember.
Kevin Bacon.
That's true.
Keep hearing Baker every time I say that dude's name.
Baker.
Baker.
It's not RE7.
Kevin Baker. Long lost cousin of the Bakers.
Well, let's try Final Girls then. So
Girls.
favorite, least favorite.
Tina.
Tina.
I
Yeah,
gotta go with
his favorite.
Tina, man. Like,
Tina.
she was literally the unstoppable force going against the immovable object. Like, I gotta give mad respect to that girl. She actually held her own better than most Final Girls. For one, she could actually fight back.
Yeah, she had powers, and I kind of like that she used the decapitated head to headbutt Jason. That was peak comedy.
Yo, Jason had enough of that girl shit at the end of the movie. He's good ready to kill her. He pushed a dude in the fucking boat like, nah. I want her. Yeah, my way. He had enough for of her crap.
Mhm. For
Jenny
least
for me.
favorite Jenny from part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't mind Jenny either. Yeah, she's not bad.
I'm trying to remember who.
least favorite. Hold on, let me do least favorite real quick. Chris from part 3. I thought she was
Agreed.
underdeveloped, like severely
It wasn't
compared to the
even
other one.
anything
It's
like that. I just remember her less than any other like final girl or final guy.
Yeah.
So it's just like in a mediocrity contest that puts you well above everyone else.
Yup.
It's a shame too, though, because her actress, is really, really cool, like IRL, and she was holding the role, but she's got cookie cuttered.
I actually felt like if this is the one that I'm thinking of, I feel wasn't she actually fought back against him though? Is she the one that like
She
hung
does.
him?
Yeah, she hung him.
Yeah, I was gonna say besides Tina, I liked her too though, Chris.
It
So
is
was
funny
like
when he got hung.
She actually fought back and tried to be smart.
Yeah, she did, but I just felt like the build up to her character was not as great as the other ones, especially Tina.
Honestly, for me, it's a tie for least between Chris and Megan.
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 Yeah, that's
Got it in.
respectable.
Gotta get it in there.
Because she really didn't offer very much other than get Tommy like into town when he got kicked out. So
Oh,
yeah.
you mean part 6?
Yeah.
Yes.
Megan.
Yeah.
I actually kind of liked her, so I'm differing on
Tina.
that.
I like
Actually,
Megan.
her a
I
lot.
think for some reason I don't count her as a final girl, even though she technically is.
She's a side character for the most part.
Yeah.
It's mostly
Yeah.
time.
I still really like Megan though.
To be honest, it's just a
Yeah,
time
Megan's
movie.
cool, but yeah, sometimes
She's
I
a
don't
cool-
count her as a final girl.
I
'cause
wouldn't.
I
Yeah,
forget.
she's not a final girl. She's a side character.
But I guess if you just use the technical sense, then yeah, you can count it.
Yeah, sure.
Let's say my least favorite is what's her name from the first one. Don't really care. Didn't really
Alice?
like her.
Alice? She alright.
Yeah, that was
Well,
Of all
she
of
did
them,
kill
fine,
Mrs.
Val.
Voorhees, so
Fine.
I give her that much.
out of all of them though. She was like, I don't know, just because of how old the movie is and how it just played out. It was like my least favorite of the final girls.
I mean,
Just
I liked her. It's just the fact that I think she was gonna be in 2 even more, but the actress was getting stalked in real life, so
Yeah,
she
Ava
wanted her
Jane.
character killed off. Yeah.
Jesus.
Like, yeah, that's a shame.
Hold on, scratch that though. I gotta give like number 2 spot to the second best final girl. That's a chick from Jason X. The one that freaking shot Jason, froze him, got stabbed, then blew his ass up later. Like
Oh,
she
the
deserves
cyborg.
a spot.
Cyborg.
No, not the
Yeah.
cyborg. No, fuck the cyborg.
The girl that got frozen with him, right?
Yeah, it's her. I forgot her name. Cause goddamn. Yeah,
She's
she
cool.
deserves a spot though, because she
She's
took
actually-
charge when the
She was
soldiers
pretty
died.
cool.
Debatable.
Like,
She got
She
stabbed.
even at the beginning of the
Yeah,
movie, she's
yeah,
like,
freaking locking up Jason. Like she definitely earned a spot. She at least tried.
I
she
like,
was like,
Dominatrix Cyborg actually wrecking his shit better.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
yes, you do. But no, Jason X, I can't remember her name, but at the beginning she's like, we need to kill Jason. Like we need to make sure he doesn't get out.
Dump
And
his
dude's like,
body.
nah, we'll be fine. She's like, you're a fucking idiot. So it's pretty much what she said.
She was
Like,
fed
she-
up with their shit that whole movie.
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably would be
like,
too.
look, this is what we need to do. We do it now. Like, nah, you're just messing. She's like, well, fuck you guys. I actually really enjoyed her. She would probably be in my top 3 final girls of Friday 13th.
She's easy number 2, baby.
In
Yeah,
terms of final dudes though, Brodsky.
Bro, he's a side
Man, he
character,
not-
but yeah,
He
he was
died.
dope.
Yeah, I'm sad.
Yeah, he dies. Okay.
Yeah, he did,
died
man. That
taking
sucked.
Jason to hell, dude.
Yeah, he literally
took him
turned
straight to
Jason into
hell.
a shooting star. Like that shit was awesome.
He brought Jason down to earth and brought him down to fucking hell, dude.
Then he comes back later, so it all doesn't matter.
Well,
No, he did. Broski just comes back as Hammond from Dead Space. He didn't really die.
No, let's talk about the remake because they eventually got rid of that shit anyway. So final question. Favorite and least favorite story within the series. I know for me that's easy. I think that's part 4. Favorite.
Agreed.
4?
Yeah, part 4 for me.
Yep.
I do like the story of 4 a lot, but I think the entirety of the Tommy trilogy is like overall pretty good, even with 5 being mediocre in my opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it feels like you're gonna pick one of those at least.
Yeah, if I had to pick one of them, it'd probably be 4. Had the best story.
I would have to say, for me, favorite story has to be Jason Lives, because that was the movie that definitely defined Jason as a force that you do not want to fuck with, or he'll break your back. Literally
That was
break
6,
your back.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was
6.
6.
Oh, yeah.
I do like that one a
know
lot
that
as
one
well.
too.
Yeah, like where the people
that'd be my
around know
second
about
favorite.
Jason, they try to rename the town.
Forest Green. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the little subtle like Frankenstein and his monster. I like that because Tommy is the one that created zombie Jason. It's
Pretty
literally like
much.
Frankenstein's monster all over again. I like the
That's a good way
gothic
to say
theme
it.
of it. So, because I think that's
It's a-
actually what the director wanted to do. But
there's also a bit of irony in there too. He tried to destroy Jason's body, but ended
yes,
up recreating him.
exactly. Yep, exactly.
I think it was also for me is I felt anxious throughout the movie because of the fact that everybody was like, nah, Jason's not alive. Jason doesn't exist. And it's like, yo, he's going to kill everybody. Like, y'all need to believe me. And nobody was trying to believe him.
Dude, the cop was the worst.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to kill that guy. Like, what is he doing?
I can't necessarily in the context of the setting though. I don't necessarily blame everyone because remember, this is Tommy here. Remember in the last 2 movies?
Yeah.
So like he has a reputation for a reason though. But on top of that though, like going by the continuity though, Jason has been gone for a hot minute. So it's
But the
understandable
phone
they try to keep
call-
things on a route.
But it's just the fact that, like, low key, he is kind of like freaking out and he looks terrified. And it's like, you couldn't even just dig up the grave to check. Like, y'all couldn't even check.
And the phone call. He was
I
like,
think
you know
it's
what?
very reasonable for Sheriff Garris to react the way he did.
No, but
Yeah.
like I said, the phone call thing was just stupid because he's like, you know, it doesn't matter when it happened. Like your daughter's trying to tell you something, and you're not trying to listen. So it's
I like the caretaker.
yeah, the caretaker's kind of weird. Well, all
pretty funny.
caretakers are weird.
I mean,
I like how he looked at the camera. He's like, some people have got a weird, sick sense of humor.
I thought that was like fourth wall. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Also, I did like that he got killed by his own drink. It's like
Yo,
you won't be a death
yeah.
on me.
He said, you're going to be the death of me. Dead.
Yeah.
Didn't someone like sort of do something like that in the series? I think it was part 4 where the guy called another guy a dead fuck and he actually died.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy. And,
Yeah, but that wasn't really like
Ted.
a play on words or anything, though.
It definitely did happen. It's like, you know what?
Yeah, that's like my only thing I don't like about part 4 is like how much like the whole like dead fuck dialogue comes up. It's so much screen time goes to that.
Hold on.
On
my nerves a little bit.
Yeah, let me just look up on my computer real quick.
Oh god. Yeah, that joke did kind of run long.
Dead fuck.
Yo.
So wasn't it was it part 2 or 3 where they had the underage actress in the sex scene? That gets
Part
killed?
2.
Ooh, I can't remember.
part
It was 2.
Part 2.
I was
right.
wondering about that with any of them. I was like, I really hope that they are all of age.
Dead
She was
Meat?
like 14 or 15 years old or some shit like that.
No, she was not 14. No,
Jesus.
she was not 14. She was 17.
17, okay.
I mean, either way.
I couldn't remember. She was underage. That's all I knew.
Yeah. 1 year shy or a couple months shy though, but yeah, she was not that young. That wouldn't have survived.
The person, well, I think you're able to tell because the person that's in that sex scene does not disrobe and the other ones are kind of explicit. It still doesn't need to be in the movie though. That's just fucking gross.
Yeah, because once they found out though, they went back and edited footage.
Jeez.
Yeah, I think so. Then they made that a tie-in to third one where it's the main dude's sister.
It was 4.
I just wonder. So like they didn't know when they casted her. Like, how do you mess that up as a casting director? Like, how do you let that slip by you?
Unless
The age
she
of the
lied
person
about
that
it.
you're-
She could have lied.
I mean, either way,
about
you
it.
should be able to like.
Lied.
I mean, really, like, still check like who they are.
Yeah, I'm
I don't
not disagreeing with that notion though, but like,
Oh
maybe
yeah, I get
something
what you're
happened.
saying. That's like obviously the only way it happened is if they lied about their age. But like again, like I feel like it should be part of your job as the casting director, especially when there's scenes that involve nudity and sex, to like make sure that actor is of age.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's a
that's true.
responsibility you have.
That's true. I agree with that. Least favorite
All right.
story, part 5.
Part
Part
five.
5.
That's fair.
Manhattan.
That's valid.
I just
Well,
they could have did
Just,
that
it's
better.
just what the fuck the movie.
And it was way too obvious. Like as soon as he overreacted, I was like, "That's him. He's the killer. Something's wrong with him."
Like my issue with part 5 is though, like if they're gonna make a new continuity or new beginning, as we call it though, why copy the previous one? Like the kills and brutality is one thing though, but why literally make a blue Jason? Why not make him a unique killer in his own sense? That makes
Yeah.
it stand out from Jason, because you literally just made another Jason. So what's the point? Just give us a real Jason.
I wanna say originally that was their plan. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I watched Crystal Lake Memories, but I want to say they wanted Tommy Jarvis to be the killer.
Yeah.
After part
after
4.
the fact though, but I'm talking about like
been
with
worse,
Roy
in my
himself
opinion.
though. Like, why was he Jason instead of just being a new unique killer or something else? Call him whatever else, right? But still keep the brutality of Jason, you know?
a lot of people were saying that he did it to basically fuck with everyone, considering how, you know, Jason and everything. And also, a lot of people are thinking because of Tommy, because Tommy's there and how he supposedly saw Jason personally.
Hmm.
People were saying that he did that on purpose, so that way he could pin the whole thing on Tommy.
They
guess.
kind
Yeah,
well.
and I
did
can
not-
understand a
they
twisted
did
logic
not-
of being like, oh, I can get away
they-
with it if I pin it on Jason.
Yeah,
Like, I guess I can
Yeah, they
understand that in a
they
weird
did
way.
not. They did not do it in a good way with the writing.
They
Reasonable
tried
fashion.
they tried to do something like that in part 4, but it all just kind of went to shit when the copycat killer like showed up anyway. So it's like, what was the point?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Was there a reason that he was doing it, or was he just killing people to kill people?
His son.
Just 'cause his son
was
died.
chopped up by next.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I must have missed that. I
Yeah.
feel like I barely paid attention to that movie too.
There's a reason for it.
That's
fair.
not
It doesn't
until the
really make
end.
any sense. So
Yeah,
You're-
one of the people there, one of the residents, he's chopping up wood, and one of the guys ends up bothering him, and then when his
Oh.
back gets turned, he hits him multiple times with the axe.
Yes. Okay, that was his son. Okay.
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
There's like a later scene where his wallet is removed and it has the picture of his son in it.
Oh, see, I must have missed that because I would
wait.
I would have never put 2 and 2 together.
They also
That's the
explain
whole-
it.
Movie.
They also explain it at the end.
Nope.
They like okay after the hospital scene. Well, I think it's during it actually. They literally
During it.
explain that that's his son and that's why he did it. Like right there.
What, you know, all this doesn't make any damn sense though. Like, if he cared about his son, why is he in another home?
a halfway
Why-
house.
Wasn't it?
Yeah,
Oh, I thought that was okay. Never mind.
Yeah,
That
so
was totally stupid.
this plot doesn't make any damn sense.
and
Yeah.
it's a current photo too. Even though the son, is like the kid who died, is supposed to be like estranged and
Yeah.
not have any like relatives to care for them, but like it's a current photo in Roy's
Yeah.
wallet. Yeah, it's not well written at all.
No, it's,
But I
it's-
mean, like we're just talking about Friday movies, you know? Like
yeah.
Yeah, but
mean, it's still,
even
like, valid
Friday movies
criticism,
still have standards.
It's
oh,
Somewhat.
of course. I'm not saying that like we should just not care about it, but like it's valid criticism, but
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
Mhm.
It's not what anybody tunes into a Friday movie for, you know?
That
True.
could have been
Apparently-
like any slasher film though. Like that didn't have to be a Jason movie, to be honest.
according to the lore, apparently the guy kept tabs on the kid on his child as he went from foster home to foster home. he reluctantly gave Joey up because Roy's girlfriend at the time, or wife, I can't remember which one, she ended up dying after he was born because of the childbirth, and unable to bear with that loss of what happened, and him not mentally being able to, you know, take care of the kid. Yeah, he ended up giving the kid away, but he made sure to keep tabs on him whenever he could.
Hey, another great.
that's
The movie
when-
should explain that.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, it sounds like either a
it-
fan or a producer or somebody like retconning after the fact to try to, make it make sense,
And
tie up
maybe.
that loose end.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Sorry.
I feel like if the
Yeah.
guy had another motive that was similar to Jason but not really, and he was
I
trying
think
to
it was more so. It was them trying to just pull a Pamela.
yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if it was just different and interesting, then I think it would have worked. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I think we can do those outros now.
Outro?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
And I
No.
think that's about it.
Yeah, I think that's all the questions we got for today.
Yeah, that's quite unfortunate. Let's keep going. That's good. All right, fine. Austin, how's it so?
I'm up.
Yes.
All right.
You're up. Now, get
Yeah,
out.
well, that was me, AKAustin. You can find me on Twitter with the same Twitter handle. You can find me on Twitch with AKAustin_01. It was fun here, and yeah, Friday the 13th is still probably my favorite horror franchise.
All right, Cryo.
You can find me on Twitter and YouTube under the same handle, Cryo Gaming, CRY0 Gaming.
Vela.
You can find me on Twitter at Vela Scares.
This. That's right.
You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/VersaVulture24, and you can find me on Twitter at Desiree_Veronica.
All right. And you can find me on Twitter at Ren Operative
Give me my motherfucking outro, you asshole.
Go right ahead, sir.
All right, so you can find me on Twitter at RenOperative_, and you can find me on YouTube at Renegade Operative.
Unfortunately.
Shut up.
You can find me on Twitter at Immortal Brandel, which is Sir Brandel, and everywhere else is none of your damn business. And thank you for joining us today. Stay the fuck away from lakes, because there's people out there will kill you. Stay away from hills, because they have eyes on them. Stay out of space, apparently. And have a great day and night, evening, wherever the hell it is for you guys. Bye.
Don't make any
Bye.
wrong turns either.
Exactly.
Oh my!
And don't have nightmares
Don't make
either.
Oh
Make
my
any
god.
deals with leprechauns.
Oh.
In the hood or in space.
I
I hate you
Send
guys.
them to space either.
Damn it.
Oh, yeah.
Just watch
Watch out
out
for
for Elon
Creepers
Musk.
too.